piece. Working, we serving the streets. About to go 8, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this. So it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet.
Rowdy, we get rowdy, rowdy. Rowdy, we get rowdy, rowdy.
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go 8, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go, 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 go time.
Welcome everybody to Dueling Aces for Tuesday, our second Tuesday, April 15, 2025. Tonight we've got a wonderful plethora of topics to cover, and to kick it off, Sam and I are going to beat up on some Major League Baseball right off the rip. And Sam, how the heck are you, first and foremost?
I would just like to announce that, I was under the impression that I was going to get paid $5 to be on this show tonight, and I'm only getting $3, so I'd like to transfer to a different show. Is that okay?
I think it's on Mondays.
But no, outside of all that stuff, I'm doing just fine. Happy Jackie Robinson Day to all our baseball fans.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Lunch is still debating. Well, little heartburn going on. Clint, what's happening, sir? Clint is en route. The Dueling Ace is headed to Vegas, and we will discuss a little bit of Wrestlemania later on, but Clint is going to be in presence of the greatness, being over there in Vegas, along with Rob, I believe. So, safe travels out there, fellas, and definitely, give us a couple of cool reports and let us know what's going down during the day, as you're seeing all the WWE Wrestlemania events that they will have going on, I'm sure. Keep us posted and get some cool picks. Love to turn around and chat about that next week.
And if you're walking around where you're staying, whatever, you hear people yelling, "Hit me!" Get the hell out of there.
No, he'll be one of them at the Blackjack table.
Stay away from it all.
Yep. He has confirmed Rob is in presence with him. Excellent. Very cool. So, let's don't want to dabble too much on the WrestleMania just yet. Although Clint is our dueling ace for our wrestling, as well as Bruiser. But I do want to save that for a little later. I do want to get into and start beating up on the umpires. Major League Baseball, now that betting is purely legal on games, we've already been noticing that a few of these fellas have got friends of friends who are placing bets on games that they're even umpiring. Yeah, it's getting a little too suspicious out here, Sam. I'm sorry to say. I believe there was a fellow the other night who had 12 way off calls. That was a little suspicious.
Well, I mean, all you had to do was look at the game last night in Philadelphia with the Giants. Eric Miller throws a ball that is clearly 65 inches off the plate, which is called a strike. And it ends up not only costing the Phillies a big inning, it might well cost them the game. Now, we don't know what would happen after that, but still. The point here is if these guys, I think there's like, I don't want to think it's rigged because of this, but like you said, with the way this, now that it's legal, you don't know. Because I'll tell you now, let's just say in a hypothetical universe that none of this stuff is actually rigged or fixed by these umpires because, some hands are in some pockets. Let's just say that these guys are seeing the amount of players and fans calling for the automatic strike zone. And if their goal this year was we're going to go out there and show people we don't need that, they're doing a shitty job at it. Because not only are we getting like strike calls wrong, they're getting like replays wrong. Now I know the umpire isn't like the all-around decision maker when it comes to a replay, but there are just blatant ones that are literally getting missed. But the umpiring this year, we love to make the joke, right? Oh, Angel Hernandez. We love to make the Angel Hernandez joke.
Right.
It seems like we got about 6 or 7 Angel Hernandez in there. And it's not, this is bad. Like, this is like historically bad. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to believe it's rigged. But, some of these calls are not close. And these are not umpires that are like young guys that have only been in the league for like 4 or 5 years. These are guys that have been around for 20 plus years. At least 10. It's not your first rodeo. You've been doing this for a long time. And now all of a sudden you're just getting really bad at your job.
I've been to a couple of the we were at last summer. We went to one of the minor league games down in Columbus where they had, the opportunities of challenging those pitches. Those replays come back really fast.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to it. And the one the one real little video TikTok, whatever you want to call it, where they show one of the pitches being thrown and the umpire calls it a ball and the catcher immediately wants to challenge it, and it comes back and it says, the umpire turned around and the review comes back and it was a ball, and the umpire says the call was surprisingly correct. And everybody turns around and was like, yeah, it's amazing, it's a miracle, they got it right. But the thing is the overall consensus is that it was like, well, it's around 92% accurate. Well, what's driving that down? And I mean, I forgot our research department is unavailable at the moment, but the one umpire who was fired last year because of what he had pulled through the 2023 season with being tied to the gambling. We've seen it in the NBA. We've clearly seen it in football all of a sudden. 3 NFL refs are bye-bye. Whoops. What happened there? And ironically, Chiefs games on top of it all. What a surprise. What a shock. Yeah.
Hold on. You're kidding.
No.
They are the pinnacle of perfection. They don't do shady stuff like that. I am appalled.
I know I'm speechless. Totally speechless. I don't get it. I mean, who knew?
Who could have thought? I thought it was the Bills.
So, with these guys being kind of putting feet to the fire right now, how soon do you think that MLB actually does bring up about what they've got running with the minors right now, where they are challenging it? And
you can make the case for 2026. Because here's the thing. They already started experimenting with it in spring training. And usually when something like that gets experimented with in spring training, it ain't far off from happening. Here's what really put the umpires in a tough spot. Now, I was watching old highlights the other day. Yes, my feed is full of old Phillies highlights. And I was watching a game from 2011, Phillies and Braves. It was a night that Cliff Lee had 16 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you now, rewatching Cliff Lee pitch, but not seeing that box on the freaking broadcast is one of now the strangest things I've ever witnessed. That is the bit of thing that has really bit baseball in the ass with this umpiring stuff. Because not only are they missing these calls, the fans can now clearly see they're missing them. Not that, I mean, all you need to do is have a decent eye to see it before, but you see where I'm getting at here? That box now just gives everybody that watches these games at home the perspective to say, how do you miss that? It's literally clear as day now. So, yeah, honestly, I could see it as early as next year. I'm sure it's going to be a big topic. It's going to be a topic throughout every baseball owners and personnel meeting from now till the winter meetings. It's going to be discussed, and I think it could be as early as next year, no later than a year after. I think by 2028 we have it completely invented. It's just getting too bad. Because, and if some of them, I'm sure some of the umpires are pushing back against it. Yeah. And if I'm baseball, I'm going to them and saying, okay, well, you have one of two options. Either agree with the challenge system, or we're going to have a robotic strike zone.
Well, and the social media has been lambasting the ordeal all the way around. I mean, people are screaming, well, if it's so easy, then why can't they get it right? You know? And why not just have just the robotic strike zone overall and just have the umpires there for the calls at home plate?
I mean, those wrong too.
Well, I mean, and here's a crazier thought. Earlier this school season, the 8th graders in their career class, they had to come up with different things for, ideas to turn around and help the progression of things. And one group of guys turned around and came up with a robot umpire. Just like you'd see literally Tesla, robots, whatever. And they went through and had a whole spiel of, hey, we've got these cameras, these sensors, and they would be just like at home plate. And they would make the calls, strike zone, safe and out, the whole 9 yards. And I thought, oh, that's real interesting. I said, but, what happens, you get different sensors or cameras short out or go down, then what do?
What happens if it rains? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and I brought that one up too. I says, well, then if you get them wet, and they're like, oh, they're waterproof. All right,
everything's waterproof.
Everything, yeah. I said, okay, no problem. You got me on the waterproof, but yeah.
That's like the definition back in the day when they would create a new waterproof phone case. They're like, oh, okay, here, let's see. Throws it in the pool, instantly doesn't work ever again. That's exactly that. But also, I want to go back to something now you said about the home plate stuff. Here's what annoys me as well. What drives me nuts with baseball right now, there's a few things. One, I hate the bleeping ghost runner rule. I still hate it. I think it's the stupidest thing in the world. If you can't hit a relief pitcher for one run on your own, that's your team's problem, not mine, okay? It's not fair to the relief pitcher who comes in and loses a game to a runner he doesn't even allow. It's ridiculous. Well, I don't want to
Agreed.
sit through 15. Well, like I said, I don't want to sit through 15 innings. Don't fucking go. They don't go to the games, okay? I don't. Trust me, it's not. That's a whole nother rant. I'll go for another day. Another rule that
go for it. Go for it, because that's exactly where I wanted you to go.
No, and you and I, we have our differences on the pitch clock. You don't like it. I don't see an issue with it. We do agree there is some injury concerns with some pitchers. I agree with that. I understand some things have to be changed. Now, and then there are people that are saying, if they have to do the challenge strikes, there's going to be a pace to play. Shut up with the pace to play. The game was designed for a specific reason. If you cannot sit in front of a baseball game for 2.5 hours, you have a problem. And do not tell me it's to intrigue a younger audience, because guess what? I go, on average, George, since 2022, I have gone to an average of 10 games a year, including postseason. And guess what? I have sat there 45,000 nut job watching Bryce Harper hit balls into the third deck against the Braves, one of the Phillies' most hated rivals. There's still kids on their damn cell phones not watching. So it doesn't matter. Stop with the...
And how much do you pay? How much do you pay? If you paid the God amount of money to turn around and be rushed, to have a game rushed in front of you, I'm sorry, no. If I've sat there and had to pay $45 to $50 a ticket and a family of 4, that's a couple $100 right there, not counting food and drinks. Next thing you know, you've spent about $350, between that and maybe souvenirs. All of a sudden, it's hurry up and get this game over in 90 minutes, 2 hours. Like, no. I'm sorry. If I got my money's worth, I want to sit back, relax at the ballpark. That's what it was meant for. All these damn millennials and TV honkers want to sit there and go, no, we need to turn around and let's go. No.
That's not how the game was played.
That's right.
It's not. It wasn't designed for that.
Best thing about this game, there was no time limit on baseball. Now these boneheads turn around and threw this pitch clock thing in. It's totally ridiculous.
And literally, I just put a post out, 2 weeks ago. I sat through 19 innings. Thanks, Dennis.
Thanks.
I sat through 19 innings of a baseball game. I sat through 2 games. Me, my mother, and my cousin, and all 3 of us spoke of it to this day, how awesome that night was. I got to see Wilson Valdez, a second baseman, pitch. I got to see Carlos Ruiz, a catcher, play third base, and he caught a pop-up. I got to see 2 games for the price of 1. And there was still at least 10,000 people there when the game ended.
I love extra inning baseball. I love it.
Yes!
There was nothing wrong with it.
And once again, I'm sick and tired. Like I said, I get some of the rule changes. All the sports are changing. Everything is for the millennials. Well, first of all, the one game that's changing, really not to give 2 shits about what their fans think, is the NFL, because the NFL is never going to have a problem with viewership. They're the NFL. They're the biggest ticket in town. Only thing they are changing is to get more fans from other countries. That's all they're doing. And that's why they are ahead of everybody else. It's never going to matter. But before that, and that, like I said, if you cannot sit there and watch this stuff for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, then don't go. Well, my uncle used to go to Phillies games with his daughters and with me. He would make them keep their phones in the damn car. There was only one person allowed to take their phone into the stadium. And guess who that was? Me. And he said this for 2 reasons. One, I'm not his kid, so he can't tell me really. I can't take it with me. But he said, you know why he's allowed to? He's going to sit there and watch the damn game.
Right.
Because he was like, I'm not going to. And then, guess what? Years down the road, guess who went by himself after that? Because that's the problem. Kids don't care. Well, no, not all. But, you're not going to, I don't know how much more you're going to draw in than you already have. But once again, you ignore, first of all, baseball has more bigger issues than rule changes. Can you maybe worry the fact that you have 2 major league teams right now playing at minor league ballparks? Can you please?
One due to a severe storm.
I understand that.
So,
But can we also focus on the fact that the A's are just automatically assuming they're going to Vegas and they don't have a stadium even close to being built yet? Can we talk about teams like the Pirates? And the Pirates claim they're not a big market. Okay, go talk to me when McCutcheon was in his prime. They were a market. Can we focus on teams neglecting to spend to get better, knowing that they don't have the farm system? It's okay to have a bad farm system. Trust me, I'm a Phillies fan. We've had one for decades. The Phillies had one great stretch in their minor league system. Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins. They got those guys in whole hammer. They were winners. But the Phillies historically improved their teams by signing players. Clearly, this team is an example. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Trey Turner. They've only got a couple guys on their team that they've brought up through their system.
well, yeah, and like Anthony, it's like the national. It's kind of like that little running joke of how a whole bunch of Jets players became Patriots players when Parcells turned around and flipped in this coach. And it's like the same thing. Right now, you got 3 big Nationals players who are now Phillies players.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, though. The Nationals, but there's the difference. The Nationals have actually brought these guys up and developed them. Juan Soto, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper. Back here, I think this will be a name you'll like. Ryan Zimmerman. Ryan Zimmerman was the face of the Nationals for a decade.
Yep.
And they are doing it again right now, because I'll tell you right now, Keibert Ruiz is one of the best young catchers in baseball. He's my second favorite young catcher in baseball, not named Patrick Bailey for the Giants. Patrick Bailey is a freaking stud, and I love him. But Keibert Ruiz is finally starting to figure it out at the dish. He's batting like 300. Mackenzie Gore struck out 12 Phillies on opening day. No, that's not hard to do, trust me. But either way, it's a good lineup that he went toe-to-toe against and had them baffled the whole game. They got him in the Juan Soto deal with the Padres. The Nationals, DJ Abrams, their shortstop, he's a good young player. They brought in some veterans like Nathaniel Lau from the Rangers. Josh Bell, who, by the way, Josh Bell, if he's playing against your favorite team, he's going to bat $160. When he plays the Phillies, he's Josh Babe Ruth. That's just how it is. But the Nationals actually have a pedigree of developing some solid young talent. Now, granted, it usually Steven Strasburg, there's another one. It's not our fault that these guys all leave, but still they develop them. The Phillies are just a team that takes the talent, the established talent away from those guys. That's just how it is. But why I was just talking about, I just brought the Giants up. Here's another rule that baseball needs to figure the hell out. The Buster Posey rule, the home plate stuff. Here's my problem with that rule. They are still adamant that a catcher cannot block the runner's path to the plate, because they're trying to prevent what happened between Scott Cousins and Buster Posey, where Buster had a whole year off because he broke his leg in 2 pieces. So, well, okay. There's 2 sides to this, and they're both problems. Number 1, Phillies-Dodgers 2 weekends ago. Phillies get a guy coming home. They throw the ball. Will Smith walks up the line, tags the runner. It's only a few inches, like a foot or 2 away from the plate. But he's going into the baseline, running up and tagging the runner. Is he not blocking his path to the plate? That's the first problem. The second problem I have with it is the catcher cannot block the plate. What the hell is he supposed to do? Let him score? And I get what happened with Buster Posey. I get it. But we haven't had that problem again since. It's been 15 years. We have not had another home plate. Now, yes, you could say because they made the rule, but still, I still think they don't know how to properly call it, because we don't know what is the definition of someone blocking the plate. We don't know. I get the base runner, and because another part of the rule is the base runner cannot use ridiculous force to hit the catcher like Pete Rose. That I get. You don't need to run at the guy 1,000 miles an hour like an NFL linebacker. You don't need to Brian Dawkins a catcher. I get that part. But the
I just told the kids that last night too.
yeah, like
I was like, you guys will not be allowed to truck the catchers. I said it's an automatic out and an ejection. I was like, you guys don't need that.
yeah. So the catcher's screwed either way. He's either going to get hit by some players, or he's going to be say, "Oh, runner safe, you're blocking the plate." Well, I'm sorry. Is it my job to help my team not let the other team score? What am I supposed to do? That's like a goaltender saying, "Hey, you're too far off the net. Good goal." What do you want me to do?
Yeah, I know. And then the next big thing is, you got a whole bunch of people going, well, why not just have 2 home plates? It's like, no, you don't need to have 2 home plates.
George, if I ever wake up to a day that baseball has 2 home plates, I'm never watching the game again. Yeah. They've already ruined my sport that I've loved the most forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we said it's pretty much that rigging. But no, and I think that's why I'm a pretty big super fan of Trey Turner himself, because if you watch Trey Turner go to steal home, he doesn't slide in with his feet. He uses his arm. He'll slide to that outside and just use his arm to tag the play.
Trey Turner has the prettiest slide in baseball.
Yes, he does.
Nobody will ever figure that out.
It needs fan voting. That's more like his Aces his fan football. This is that fan football there, Zolt.
Those games would be 7 hours long.
Oh, jeez. Almost as bad as that. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you want the fans picking the plays?
Hey, George, let me ask, you coach baseball. You still watch baseball, I think, sometimes. Let me just ask you a question. What's the point of the infield being drawn in? What's the purpose of that? Just answer me that question real quick. What's the purpose of your infield being drawn in?
You're basically looking to have a hard, or I should say, your pitchers aren't going to be slinging fastballs. You want your pitchers hitting off speed or pitching off speed stuff, so that the timing is off and the batters will either hit the top of the ball, the bottom of the ball, and they'll hit shorter grounders, and the speed's not going to be coming back so fast, and that they can turn around and make double plays quicker or get the ball. Especially if the runner's on third, he's already halfway down the line. So you turn around and get it home fast.
Okay, I just want to know because, I think I just witnessed baseball history. The Phillies are the first team I've ever seen to have the infield drawn all the way damn near to the pitcher's mound, and a run still somehow scored. Somehow.
Well, what happened with that Chicago Cubs game a year or two ago, and the guy turned around and hit that little dribbler to first base, and then he almost walked all the way back home to avoid getting tagged, and then ended up going from first to second.
That's Pirates baseball in a nutshell. Sorry, Bruiser.
Oh, my God. Priceless. I mean, totally priceless.
But, yeah, I'm not a very happy Phillies fan right now, just so people can understand. I watch the games till Zach Wheeler's out or when Luzardo gets out, because Luzardo's actually pitched really well for the Phillies so far this year. Thank you, Marlins. I'll watch Christopher Sanchez pitch. I don't care about Aaron Nola or Taijuan Walker starts, and I don't care to watch this team attempt to hit a baseball because you have a chance of teaching blind mice how to see again. You got a better chance at that.
Well, and the big thing that I like I said right now, that I will have the opportunity to enjoy with the Vermilion Indians coming up here in a few weeks when we really get started. on a full season, like in full go mode, is we're at what I call the real baseball. No pitch clocks. We got 12, 13 guys that just want to play baseball, have a good time doing it. And I got one that's never played before, like ever. Like played on a team. And he's a little timid about it, but he's just like, you know what? This is gonna be cool. And he's got a cannon for an arm and can make that throw from third to first, can make the throws from the outfield, and he's gonna have a good time. I mean, and that's what you want to do. When you're at a ball game, you want to see a good game, both teams having a good time, especially when they're, just making little jabs and messing with each other because the players know each other and stuff. That's all in good fun. That's what you want. That's what baseball should be about.
Exactly.
And to not be forced with, even though technically our games are run on a time limit, but we usually get the innings in before the time limit really gets in. So we're really not that concerned about it. But it's like some of these games, when you're really in a good game, it's like, oh my God, you almost don't want it to end. Or you've gotten through 7 innings and you guys are tied up. And it's like, shoot, let's play 2 more and go to 9. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you got a really good game going. It's like you never want it to end, which I love.
Well, and like, I'm one of the more older-fashioned baseball fans. I get people saying that, I'd rather watch, 10-9 games, 8-7 games. I'm like, you don't like pitchers' duels? You don't like 2 guys going like 7 innings each, no runs? Like, I find that more entertaining. I love pitchers' duels. I'm a spoiled brat. My whole childhood, I got to watch Cole Hamels, Roy Halladay, and Cliff Lee pitch for the Phillies. I'm a spoiled brat. But, dude, you got that was your show the whole night. Phillies could have lost that game 1-0. I wouldn't care because Roy Halladay went out there and went 7 shutout innings. I could care less. You got a show every night they were out there. And now with Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, they got the same thing. Starting pitching has always been my favorite thing about baseball.
This is old says turn a baseball game into a cricket match.
The Phillies still wouldn't be able to score a damn run.
NHL third period is more exciting than some of these MLB games. He's not wrong.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
The NHL is the one sport.
Yeah.
The NHL is the one sport that really hasn't made drastic changes, and they keep their fans because they just stick to their history and what they do. The only thing they've done in the past 10-plus years was the overtime, the 3-on-3 overtime. It's the greatest. I'm actually begging for, if I was going to make one change, screw the shootout, give me a 20-minute 3-on-3. Oh, my God. That'd be the greatest. They do it for the playoffs. That'd be the greatest thing ever. 3-on-3. Dude, you would probably have the first person have 3 heart attacks in one night with a 3-on-3 for 20 minutes. Because that 5 minutes is the best part of hockey games.
I like it. I enjoy this.
I love it.
I enjoy it big time.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's some of the funnest. It's literally some of the funnest times of hockey. Because, I mean, sometimes you get those games, it's 0-0, your goaltender's playing out of his mind. And then it's just like the odd man rushes, the big time saves. And then, of course, the overtime winners were always dramatic because it's 3-on-3.
Right. And the other thing is, too, is that with that, you also get, the overtimes back, I think back around just after you were born. I'm just saying, I watched myself a 5 overtime playoff hockey game. I was up until almost 3:15 in the
Wait.
morning watching
They
it.
had those. They had that stuff back in 1947.
Oh wow. Wow, really?
I had to bring back last week's show. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I had to.
back in the 90s. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, work sucked. Going to work sucked the next day. But I said it was like one of the best hockey games I had. I was like, man, you're into that second and third overtime, and it's like, oh dear Lord. See, I'm out here preaching to the choir. That's for sure.
That's like the 1980 baseball game. I literally had a reputation at school where if I went somewhere the night before, I usually didn't go to school the next day. Went to a couple Monday Night Raws, called out of school sick the next day. I had a habit of doing this. So my teachers were starting to catch on to it, and I did say like, "Oh, I'm going to the Phillies game tonight." They're like, "Okay, we'll see you we'll see you in 2 days." And
Here's your homework.
What sucked for me was my one teacher, she was a Phillies fan, so she already knew where I was. But she knew how long the game was. I walked into that school the next day, and they said, "Oh my God." I said, "I'm exhausted. Don't talk to me." But yeah, like it was like that was worth every hour of sleep I did not get that night. I mean, God, I get home like almost 3 in the morning that night. It was worth every second of it.
Right, and that's the most fun about it. Whether you're there or whether you're watching it on TV, I mean, that's when it's fun. That's when it's the most fun.
Yeah.
You get all that extra time. I said, the crazy thing is the game was in Dallas. And if it was 3-something in the morning for me, that's 2-something in the morning for a full arena. Nobody was going anywhere at all. I mean, that place was packed. And it was just like, and the announcers were even saying, nobody has left yet. I was like, you got that right. Because they're getting their money's worth and then some.
Yeah, what about oh man, Bruiser's not here right now. What about the Flyers Penguins game? That was like 7 overtimes that Keith Primo won in like 7 overtimes. They were ordering pizza at 2 in the morning to keep the players full.
Which is crazy.
There were kids sleeping on their mom's laps in like 3 overtimes in. And remember, that's playoff hockey when the overtimes are 20 minutes. That had to have been one of the. I wish I was at something like that.
One of the coolest things, like I said, we were here in Cleveland when we had in 2016 when the Monsters turned around and won the cup. We were at that game, and the game was, the 3 periods were over, and Bryce just looks at me and said, "Dad, when's this going to be over?" And I said, "Hey, listen, either it's going to be so loud you're not going to be able to hear me, or," I said, "2, everybody's going to be so bummed out," I said, "because they got to come back tomorrow for a game 7. I says, "and then you'll know when it's over." And when they scored with literally under seconds left in the overtime, I think it was 1.2 seconds were left. That's what was left on the clock when they scored the goal. I was like, oh my gosh, that was so close. But that arena was so deafening. And Bryce was just like, "This is so cool." And I said, "Yeah, enjoy it." Because I said, something like this doesn't happen in Cleveland. It doesn't happen in Cleveland. And then a week later, LeBron goes, "Okay, hold my beer. Watch this." And it's like, okay. And then the Indians almost do it. But I had to turn the dang TV on. I forgot there was a rain delay. That's on me. They could have done it. Damn Cubs.
You're the reason that they have it. You're the reason.
Because I did not watch any of the Cavs games 5, 6, and 7. I still haven't seen them. But I turned around and I said, you know what? I got to quit watching. I says, they're never going to win. And I quit watching. And they ended up winning. So the Indians, it was the same way. I was like, okay, I am not watching that game. And I figured, all right, it's about 10 after 11. I'm like, should be over. I'll turn the news on. And nope, damn game was still on because the rain. Oh. And they did.
Excuse me for a second. Alec Boehm just showed he has a pulse and actually drove in a run. Phillies just retest the lead in the bottom of the 6th. Thank Lord. Justin Verlander's age finally happened. Finally showed his age tonight.
Yes, and I am an Avalanche fan. And as much as I'm also a Wings fan, and I thank all of my Detroit family for enlightening me in my education of hockey, because Cleveland didn't have hockey for a long time, so we had no clue about hockey and how that went. And moved up to Detroit and got my education on it and fell in love with the game.
Yep. I'm assuming that's toward my Verlander comment. No, he honestly,
a little.
he honestly was pitching actually very well in this game until this inning. So I'm just saying, like, when you get in that age, like, you start out good, but and yes, I still am bitter about 2022. Okay, damn it, let me have my bitterness. Okay. I will be as bitter about this as George is bitter about the year 1947. Okay.
Oh God!
Wasn't
even born yet.
Are you sure?
73 is not close to 47.
That's not what Bruiser told us last week.
Bruiser's getting his old butt back up around 9. He'll be there close enough.
Yeah, Zolt did get prime Verlander.
I was going to say, I was in attendance for a couple of those myself.
Prime Verlander was something different.
Yeah, I mean, Verlander was the bee's knees when he was in Detroit. That dude, I don't think that dude paid for a meal when he went out. I still don't think he would.
There's just certain pitchers that you were just lucky to say you saw. I mean, Verlander, Halladay. I'm trying to think of other prime pitchers that.
I saw Roger Clemens last game in Detroit. Standing room only.
Raj was on the final legs of his career when I really started getting into baseball.
Well, I mean, you got to see some prime stuff. Late 90s, early 2000s.
Dude, I was 4 years old in 2000.
Well, all right, so mid 2000s.
Okay.
We'll go with mid 2000s.
There's a pitcher. It's all but confirmed now. Now all we gotta do is break down that.
Zolt's like, I'm not coming later. You can forget it.
George is going to have, just so everyone knows, there's going to be a historic moment on this show one day. It's going to be the night that George boots me, Bruiser, and Zolt at the same time. Because we're just going to make one too many jokes, and it's just going to set them off.
Just because I was around in certain circles of when sports got their act together doesn't mean squat.
Or when the wheel was invented. I don't know. Damn right I did. That's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong. My preferences now, I love football. I love the NFL. That's why my show is based off it. I love talking football. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love watching it. But the first sport I will ever have fallen in love with was baseball. I went to my first game in 2000. I didn't go to my first baseball game until 2007. I'm not going to lie. I was 11 when I went to my first game. And I got to watch Ryan Howard hit a ball 435 feet. Fell in love with the game instantly. And I took all my time to watch old players. I've collected baseball cards, so clearly I know many of old players. And then I go with the times now. I mean, I'm trying to think. Outside of Philly, my first favorite pitcher, because like I said, I'm a starting pitching nerd. My first favorite pitcher probably was Tim Lincecum.
Not bad. Not bad.
I love the delivery. I love the looking out of the corner of his eye over his shoulder to pitch to hitters. I loved it. He had the shortest peak I've ever seen, but his peak was ridiculous. Favorite all-time player, Chase Utley. I just loved I thought he played the game the right way. I thought he played it hard. I thought he hustled. He played hard. Great fielder. Good hitter. Yes, I still understand the upset people with the Tejada slide. I get it. But that's how Chase was brought up and played the game. He played it hard.
And a lot of players do.
I don't think Chase Utley was deliberately trying to
change.
Now, don't get me wrong. He was trying to break up a double play. I do not think Chase Utley's intention was to break someone's leg. I don't think he's not that type of guy. I watched his whole career here. He's not that type of dude.
There was a video meme somebody had made something about showing how baseball was in the 70s, specifically in 1970. And these guys are literally sliding into second base, taking dudes out. And I mean, taking them out.
Pete Rose was playing NFL linebacker in the All-Star game.
Yeah. And I mean, and there were bench clearing brawls, and they were into full-on fist fights. And it's like nobody turned around and the title thing even said, when the other team was clearly just the enemy.
Yeah.
I mean, and that begs the question is like, okay, has baseball gotten soft?
I want to say
Zol. Thank you, Zol.
well, I think it's because of the new call up. You know, I've gone 6 shutout innings so far over here, but George is not coming out of the pen for me, so you know, arm's getting tired, but we're good. We're good over here.
So baseball? I mean, literally, you do not really see as many bench clearing brawls that the 70s and 80s produced.
No.
The 90s, it got locked down, per se, a little bit more. The 2000s, it was really getting locked down. And then now it's like, well, somebody starts something, well, then, these guys start coming out, but they're like, okay, there's nothing. And then the bullpens will start, sticking their little noses out. And it's like, guys, you wouldn't have survived in the 70s and 80s. Mike Hargrove, I mean, shoot, Albert Bell, they'd all turn around and kick your butts.
I think the problem with that, and I think this is the problem with sports in general, it definitely is the problem in the NBA. And, Tom Brady said it perfectly. The problem is everybody's friends now on social media and all this stuff before the games. Everyone's best friends, kissy, kissy, buddy, buddy now. Nobody wants to free. Tom Brady said, Peyton and I off the field, we were good. We were cool. Like you say, we'd have dinner from time to time. But he said, when I walked onto the field, I was going to kick his ass. And I
Yep.
wasn't going to care about anything else until that clock hit 0, but if I kicked his ass. And that's the problem. Michael Jordan, same thing. And some people like to say, oh, Jordan, toward his Washington years, started to become more buddy-buddy with players. Well, yeah, because he kicked all their asses for 10. You can be friends with everyone for the final 2 years after you kicked their ass for almost 2 decades.
Right. Well, and that was the other thing too and that's why everybody said, well, now, the NBA is super structured because you're putting super teams and all-star teams together, and Joe
LeBron.
Dumars and Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan, John Stockton, Malone. They're like, they don't want to turn around and put an all-star squad together. They want to turn around and beat the best, and that's why they turn around and they never went and formed super teams because it's like, hello, it's competition.
Well, let's look at this, right? We can agree that the 1992 Dream Team is the greatest team ever assembled when it comes to the freaking.
Yep.
So, if you really want to look at this, right? 1992, they're all teammates. Bird, Magic, Karl Malone, Michael. Well, funny, a couple years later, Karl Malone and John Stockton meet Michael Jordan in the finals twice. Michael didn't give a shit about the Dream Team after that. He didn't care if they were friends in Barcelona. He said, I'm going to kick both your asses, and I'm going to win 2 more championships. But Mike was like that even in 92, because I remember one of them said, I remember someone called him in a hotel, and they said, Mike, last second shot, who's taking it? Me. And he says, don't question. Me.
Zolt, that's cold.
Oh, my God.
That's
God
cold.
damn it, Zolt.
Woo! I thought it was cold outside over here. Woo!
It's ice cold over here now.
It's ice cold in here now.
Well, I don't. I'll keep with the theme of dueling aces, but Zolt is through some high heat.
Yes, he did. Good grief, Zolt. I mean, right now, it's still an argument that I brought up to Bryce, because Bryce brought this up to me. And he said, LeBron is the greatest of all time. I said, hold on. I said, Michael Jordan didn't need to go to, multiple teams. He did it all with one team. Bryce turned around and his comeback was, but he did more in making each team better he went to. I want to say yes and no, because it still made a super team out of it. When he went to Washington, that was a whole other spiel about being in Washington, but there was nobody. I mean, it's pretty much begs the question of where else could Michael have gone? I mean, because it's like come out of retirement and nobody knew what he had left, but it was Michael Jordan. It's like, hey, he could go anywhere. Why did he not choose to go to the Lakers or New York and try to finalize up his career and get one more ring? So it's kind of, and the other argument, of course, is Michael didn't have to play into his 40s.
No, he just chose to.
Right. Well,
but
he chose to right now, because it's like, okay, because he wanted, I don't know, is he trying to turn around and do it? That he wants to turn around and try to play with his son, but knowing that basically his son is not NBA level ready yet. He is nowhere near NBA talent level ready. His other son looks like he's progressing a little bit or a lot of bit faster than Bronny is.
Bronny averaged 5 points a game at USC. I don't know where we thought this was.
Yeah, that's true too, Jimmy. Thanks. I forgot about
And that's
that.
the other thing. Hold on. I want to bring that up real quick. He just brought up ownership. Can we talk about that for a second? We talk about all these headbutts, right? Like, all right, yes, I understand Myles Garrett staying in Cleveland. I understand him and Haslam. Everyone's buddy now. I would be too if he made me the highest paid player in the NFL. It's
Right.
not that hard. Money talks. We're not stupid here. But
Right.
everyone talks about ownership and, oh, well, this player and the owner doesn't get along, or this owner and the coach doesn't get along. Michael Jordan won 6 championships and stayed with an organization where the GM basically hated him. That whole team never got along. Phil got along with the players. The players got along with Phil. But Reinsdorf, Krause, Jordan, and Jackson never got along. Never. And the problem was Reinsdorf didn't put his footprint on them enough. He wanted Krause to run that stuff. They hated Jerry Krause. And I'm giving Jerry Krause credit, too. He was able to keep his composure and work with these guys. And they were one of the greatest dynasties we've ever seen. Now the second you breathe in a guy's direction the wrong way, he wants out. So, I mean, in terms of that, that's where sports have gotten softer. Everyone just gets offended by something because we're in this cancel culture era where everybody has a problem with somebody.
And and it's no thick skin anywhere.
No. Now, don't get me wrong. I will say this, okay? The one move I have always defended LeBron on, I thought he was stupid for leaving Miami because you're in South Beach, great organization, players will come play with you there. You should never have left. You should have never left. I don't think you should have left Cleveland the second time. I still don't see the problem. I don't call him not thick-skinned because of the first time he left Cleveland. Because they could not find anybody to put next to him that was even remotely close to a top-tier role player. The best player that LeBron James had in his first stint in Cleveland was Zydrunas Ilgauskas before he got older, and little itty-bitty Mo Williams. Did Harper get that out? Oh, it's going to go to the track. Oh, no, it's going to go. It went. Let's go. Sorry. The wind carried it out.
Zolt's just throwing heat. He's throwing shades.
I would compare Zolt to like Russell Westbrook after Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City. He's just got to do everything.
Wow.
I'm kind of like Paul George. You know, they need that second star, so they brought me over. Don't worry.
I wouldn't put you that low. Give yourself a little bit more credit. Don't put yourself down that low. You need to.
We know who Bruiser's Enos Cancer because he antagonizes everybody. We know who Bruiser is.
You need to give yourself a little bit more credit. I wouldn't compare you down that low to Paul George by any stretch.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, like that's the thing. Like, but no, I agree. So, like we were talking about sports being soft. Like I agree. It's easy to be the leader.
Well, yeah. Well, that too. Right out of high school. Yeah. Wait till Zolt gets in here. Wait till he gets in.
It's also easier to score more points in the NBA when you're allowed to score more points in the NBA. LeBron literally, and look, I don't want to. I do say I don't like that comparison a lot because it's not like when LeBron came in 2003, this was the way the league was. It's gotten worse and worse over time. But there was still some decent physical play in the NBA in 2003. There were still some teams that would bust you up a little bit.
Right. It
I
got
mean-
softer around 2009.
Which is why Rasheed Wallace retired. Could you
Oh.
imagine Rasheed Wallace? Rasheed Wallace won't even play 10 games in a season now.
Oh, right now, it's laughable at these guys' work ethic. I mean, I played one game, I put up my 40 points, I'm taking the next 2 off.
No, don't.
Like, hey, wait a minute, Steph Curry, what are you doing? People paid money to see you play.
But does Steph really do the load management thing a lot? I know he missed a lot of games.
Well, I'll just by looking at Bryce started to do a fantasy basketball thing. Holy cow, did we find out on how badly these guys will sit there and skip and only play literally almost half a season to 2/3. And that's all they will play. It's like, you mean to tell me that you are not conditioned properly of playing a full season? I'm sorry, I don't remember Michael Jordan taking a third of the season off. I don't remember seeing Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson. I don't remember seeing them taking a third of the season off.
No.
What the hell? I mean,
I'll agree with
really?
you.
And then it's, now it's because, we're injured. You're more susceptible to injury because your body is not in shape to play. And they're like, it's because we're playing too much. I'm sorry, the NFL's trying to play longer, and you're trying to go shorter than a 72 games from November all the way till June. I'm sorry.
Bryce,
Give me a break.
Bryce Harper literally had his entire elbow UCL torn off in 2022 and got the Phillies within 2 wins of a world championship. He has had to learn a whole different position just so he can get back in the field of play so the team could have the DH spot open for Kyle Schwarber. Don't talk to me about guys playing injured. Alshon Jeffrey won the Eagles a Super Bowl. He tore his rotator cuff off in training camp, and he played the damn whole season with it. That's why I go back and watch the touchdown he catches from Foles, that deep pass. Watch him walk up the end zone and hyping the crowd up with his right hand because he landed on the shoulder and he couldn't move the damn thing for that whole rest for like 5 minutes. He said.
Oh, geez.
So don't tell me. And you have even added. All right, take baseball out of it, okay? Hockey, football, basketball. I don't care how physical it used to be. It is easily the least physical sport out of those 3.
Which one is?
Basketball.
Oh, for sure.
You honestly have a better shot. Hey, guess what? Basketball players don't have to throw a ball and a chance of it being hit back at them at 112 miles an hour. They've always been the least. That's the thing. It's the most least physical taxing sport because here's the thing: football, it's violent. We get that. All right, you and hockey play the same amount of games. Don't matter because hockey players are running each other over on skates.
And have to be in the best. I was going to say, you want to talk about the best shape athletes? It's going to be a hockey player. It is going to be a hockey player because the time that they have to put in just from A, learning how to skate, but B, your movements, you have to skate or you can't. You're out of a position. So,
right, I mean,
and you're always moving the whole time.
Yeah. And I mean, in my opinion, the most athletic guy on a hockey rink is probably the goaltender. I mean, they got to be athletic as hell. They got to have their head on a swivel. They got to have quick reaction time. Yeah, I mean, come on. The two most,
be able
the
to drop
two
and do
most,
those splits.
when it comes to having the best reaction time, two positions in sports that need it: a pitcher in baseball and a goaltender in hockey. Because if you're a pitcher and you have a ball coming back to 106, you're not getting down to the ground in time.
I got to give the catchers a little bit of credit on that one too, because those quick. You've got to catch those suckers, and sometimes those balls move a little bit faster than you're anticipating, especially if they drop, or they're curving. I mean, you've got to have some pretty good reaction time there too. So I give the catchers the third spot now.
Yeah, I'll disagree with that. But yeah, basketball players act like their lives are like, and they usually have some of the better endorsement deals, especially with shoe companies and all. Which they can thank Michael for that.
Yeah, that is very true. That is the person who started it. So I got nothing on that. I got no argument there. He is. He's the first dude to do it. And it's like, yep, everybody followed suit after that.
Exactly. So, but yeah. I don't.
The game, like I said, the game has gotten soft. Rule changes for basketball and football have made it in the offense's favor, and I'm gonna go here right off the rip because the whole tush push thing, of course, has been coming into play, and the defense is no longer allowed to push, but yet the offense is, because everything needed to favor the offense. The NFL got rid of the original Pro Bowl game of playing football because there was no point to it anymore, because they kept changing the rule. And they kept taking the defense's opportunity to tackle a guy, hit a guy, and they kept softening up the game, which is why it's a flag football game right now. You've gone from taking players who have earned the right to go to a Pro Bowl game to get an extra, it's a big extra bonus, is what it was, $85,000 for the winning team. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you've made it a total mockery and a joke of when the game itself is not really being played. You want to know why that has faltered so bad? You turn around and it was a trip to Hawaii, which a lot of players had never even been over there. But then everybody said, well, there's not really a big attendance for the Pro Bowl game because it's in Hawaii. We should bring it back over into the mainland and let people go. Well, okay, but guess what? You changed the game and changed the rules of the Pro Bowl, and it's laughable. And guess what? Nobody wants to go. So you have even worse attendance in this at the moment because you've softened it. You turn around and took the game totally away and what it meant. I says the only thing that you've got is the skills competition that's even worth watching on that weekend or part of the week.
That's like the NBA's with All-Star Weekend. Their viewership was down to a record-setting low for their All-Star Weekend because all their stuff stinks. Dunk contest sucks now because it's all a bunch of G Leaguers that no one's heard of.
Yeah, because nobody wants to play.
And you're bringing up how this used to be a legit football game. Sean Taylor used to be out there knocking dudes out in the Pro Bowl. He didn't give a damn where he was playing.
Nope, it's still a game.
Yeah.
And he played to win.
He played to win, all right.
I mean, the only thing that I think baseball benefited was when they said, you know what? Whoever wins the All Star game, that's who's got the home field advantage in the
Yeah.
World Series. I said, what a great idea to turn around and make that game mean something. I said, that
I
was
agree.
when they first brought that up, I said, that is an awesome idea. I said, you know what? Basketball should have done the same thing. I said, basketball should have jumped right on that same exact thing. You know how much different you could have had with home field advantage between the Jazz and the Bulls? You know how different that could have been? That could
Oh
have
yeah.
been very different. It could have been
Oh yeah.
very different.
By
It
the way,
means
just
something. It means something if when it's in the middle of the season like that. I think hockey definitely does still a very nice job on their All Star stuff. I really thought it was kind of cool when they came up with a couple of different concepts of okay, it was like the U.S. versus the world or something, and then
yep.
or it was North America and
Yeah.
versus Europe. It, it they really tried to kept changing it up and making it interesting for the fans.
And again, that goes back to the history of their game. Then the NBA tried to do that same thing and say, "Oh, we'll have Team Jokic versus Team LeBron." No, stupid. No one cares about that.
Nope.
But let me ask you this: since we're on the concept of like All Star Weekend, let me ask you something about baseball's All Star Weekend. Home Run Derby. I feel like we've had this. Shit, man.
I was going to say, I ain't got a problem with it, but there's going to be a lot of people that ain't going to be sleeping. Those
You
athletes.
thought betting? Hold on. You thought betting was an issue already? Hold on. But so let me ask you this. I feel like we've had this conversation before, but I'm going to ask it again. Baseball Home Run Derby. Do you like the new time clock format, or were you the fan of the 10 out?
I'm a 10 outs guy.
I don't mind the format. It's dramatic as hell when they got like 10 seconds left, and these guys somehow launch 5 balls in those 10 seconds.
Right, and they get the bonus, and then they earn the bonus.
Because I was the outs guy. Because I love the ninth out, the State Farm gold ball. That was hilarious. That was great.
Yeah. No, I'm a 10 outs guy.
Me too.
The time, I think that's also what exhausts, I think, the players, is because you've only got so much time and you've got to swing so hard, so much faster.
But George, it speeds it up.
Which is why I hate it.
Exactly.
Now, granted, my buddy Petey has won it a few times. Bryce Harper's also won it a few times. Listen, it's Bryce.
Hey man, I got a couple guys. That have done it.
We watch the home run derby. Bryce and I like watching our dudes play. I'm a very big Bryce Harper fan. Not that it's just total coincidence that Bryce Harper happened to come up in 2011 and Bryce was born in 2011. Purely coincidental. But they both turn around and they both wear number 3, which is just pure coincidence again. But no, I've got no problem, watching the guys. It's like if Harper wins round 1, you think he will feel the same next round? No. And like I said, because they're so tired, it's like the home run derby is extremely exhausting. These guys are, when they're sitting there taking that time out and they're getting their Gatorade and the towel, it's like, yeah, because they're starting, to feel the tightness in those shoulders. And of course,
how many guys?
it's a bad jinx. Is if you win the home run derby, you are not winning the World Series.
Well, I never want a Philly in it.
Well, it's the truth. When Bryce Harper did not, when he turned around and won that title, he did not win the World Series. Alonso, nope. And Petey's won it twice.
Petey's off to a hot start this year.
Yeah. Well, I think he's still looking to prove that he's worth some money.
Well, let's look at something now. Let's fast forward a little bit to December. Free agency. Vlad Guerrero's off the market now. So guys like Petey, guys like Schwarber, they may be in for some bigger paydays now. Now that Vlad Guerrero's not going to hit the market.
Here's an interesting question.
Okay.
You think Pete gets traded before the trade deadline?
Hell no. They're trying to win a World Series. The Mets solely because of who they signed in December will have to buy even if they're under 500. Because if they finish under 500 or miss the playoffs, someone's getting canned.
Yeah.
By the way, the umpires have struck again.
What did you just say?
Ball. Phillies Giants. Giants got first and second. Nobody asked. Alvarado just rung this dude up with a cutter right on the outside corner. It was in the box by 5 freaking feet. They called it a ball. And then that said player went on the single homer run. Now he's gotten the next 2 hitters, but he should have been out of the inning by now. But, Major League Baseball umpiring strikes at its finest again.
Ouch.
And I'm not talking on the black. It's in the box by feet, not inches, feet. It's a lock 'em up, ring 'em up right at the knees. This is ridiculous. Now, luckily, Alvarado settled down. Alvarado's like that. Sometimes he needs to give up a couple base runners to get comfortable. Then he starts striking guys out with 100 miles an hour up at your face.
Yeah.
Jose Alvarado is 2 guys. He either gets you a 10-pitch save with no problem, or he's throwing 40-plus in that inning. And it's a freaking heart attack waiting to happen. Still one of the better left-handed relievers in baseball, but when he's locked in, man, he's locked in. But yet again, he's your closer, and he's pitching in the 8th inning. What are we doing?
I was going to say, fans demand umpires firing after the Phillies lost to the Giants last night. Tony Randazzo is the umpire.
Oh, Randazzo's another one. He's been around a while. That's the thing. It's all these guys that have been around for a while. We got to get Cowboy Joe West back up in here.
Well, like I said earlier, is that the problem? Is they've been around a while.
Could be.
And it's about that time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this. I don't see a whole lot of, like the NFL right now is officially paying officials all year round because they are going to classes, they're going to trainings, and it's now a full all year round job.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball. My friend Ryan's umpired. He's been in the system. They have trainings and everything where it's literally a boot camp. And you are doing stuff all day long, constantly for months. And trying to earn your way to get on a crew somewhere.
Yeah.
Anthony says he has a hot take for an NBA trade. You mentioned the 76ers, Anthony. I think Sam's just going to lose.
Oh, wait. Did you hear what Dallas Mavericks GM Nico Harrison did today?
Oh, no. This ought to be good.
He had a media availability day for one of their end of season press conferences. It wasn't their main one, but it was like another media availability. No cameras were allowed and no recording.
So, in other words, nobody showed up.
Nico Harrison is a coward for what he did. And I'm telling you now, the one person that's kicking themselves right now is Mark Cuban for giving up his ownership in that team. Because he's pissed.
Well, I was going to say, why? If he gave up his ownership, why should he care?
Or he still has some partial ownership in it, but he doesn't have control.
It's super minor.
Oh, yeah.
It's super minor.
But he could what do? I mean, the one thing I liked about Mark Cuban when he was the owner of the Mavs, he was the owner. He's like Jeffrey Lurie. Every game he was sitting courtside.
Right.
And then I have another issue with the Sixers, and it comes with with the way they're run. Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse have their exit press conference with the media, and Daryl says, "Oh yeah, me and Nick will be back next year." Well, Daryl, hold on. There's somebody higher than you that I don't think you are the one to let me ask you this, right? Let's agree with something, right? The Eagles are a pretty well-run organization, right? If they were ever going to question someone about asking if Howie Roseman would be back, I think Mr. Lurie's making that call, not Howie Roseman. So, as the owner of a team, Anthony, we've already seen Kevin Durant do this. It's already failed twice. Let's try a third. Why don't we? Brooklyn didn't work. Phoenix didn't work. Dallas ain't going to work either.
I was going to say, and I think Kyrie would be looking for a way out of there.
We're going to have to include Kyrie or AD in the trade, so. But yeah, it's just see, that's stuff about the NBA I hate. I can't stand Kevin Durant. He has got any all-time top 10 player of all time conversation he did have has been nullified over his past two stops. Up until he left Golden State, he was easily, I would have said he could have been a top 10 player of all time. After what I have seen him do in Brooklyn and Phoenix, he is completely done. You want to talk about trying to create super teams. He is purposely trying to do it.
Right.
But don't get me wrong. Well,
rebuild. Dude,
Anthony,
you're almost.
Anthony.
I've seen the crickets.
Time out. No.
Oh
Time out. I got this. Look, wait. Put that comment back up real quick. I need Anthony. Do you know why they want to do this? Because they traded all their draft capital for Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, who Kevin Durant wanted in Phoenix. Thanks to that, they don't have a first round pick till 2032. And that is all Kevin Durant's fault, because Kevin Durant came in there, said, "I'm Kevin Durant. This is what I want." They were better off sticking with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, the team that actually got to the NBA Finals.
Right.
And keeping all their young players. Now they're screwed for the next decade. Beal's going to be the worst contract in sports because no one's going to take him. Durant's one of the biggest drama queens in the NBA today. And Devin Booker, he is the one sole survivor of this. I mean, to be fair, if you're Devin Booker, you're not going to sit through a rebuild.
No.
He'll be out next.
Yeah, Book would definitely won't be sitting through that at all. No, I mean, and Dallas literally is almost going to have to pay people to come in to see the games. I mean, you saw, outside of the evening when the Lakers came to Dallas, Yeah, the place was sold out, but it has not been sold out or even had half of the attendance. I don't even think a third of the attendance since Luca left. And then the night that Luca returns to Dallas, of course, the place is jam packed wall to wall. And of course, they, do the whole tribute video and everything else, to try to make amends. But it's like, dude, you ain't making amends. Sorry about your luck.
And I'm just saying this now. Any team, after he gets fired, because Nico Harrison will get fired eventually. Let's go Denver, Jesus. Westbrook has played pretty well for Denver this year. As their sixth man, he's actually had a really good role on their team. However, if any team in the NBA, after what you just saw that happen, and decides to give Nico Harrison a job, it's like a wrestling company giving Vince Russo a job. You are begging for problems. Yeah. I'm not that seasoned.
Right.
Trust me.
We're not that desperate.
I didn't watch Vince Russo destroy WCW. I didn't watch Vince Russo get fired by WWE or WWF, but I watched Vince Russo destroy TNA.
Oh.
I watched it.
Yeah. I forgot that's right. He was part of that debacle too.
Well, no, here's the funny thing. They fired him. Then they brought him back, after 2 years of firing him.
Well, Paul Heyman was fired from WWE a couple times.
Paul Heyman's got way more freaking credibility than Vince Russo ever had.
Touche.
I was actually watching a Paul Heyman thing the other day when he talked about being asked to be put with Brock Lesnar when he was still very young. And, I mean, look what it did for Brock.
Yeah.
Like, Heyman knows wrestling. I know people like to say, oh, he's the idiot who let guys beat each other up with all these kind of weapons. And with ECW, he still knew the business. But Paul Heyman has turned a bunch of dudes into superstars. He turned Brock Lesnar into a superstar. What? Anthony, that's an insult to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, no kidding.
Doc Rivers is Mike Tomlin. That's exactly who he is. The only difference is Doc Rivers' teams have realized when it was time to move on from him. Oh, no, they both won their championships in 2008. And they've been hanging on to him ever since, him and Tomlin.
Well, we do have, since we tagged up on wrestling, no pun intended.
Are we missing somebody for this?
We are on WrestleMania week, which ironically happens to fall through Easter weekend too.
Yep.
Which I thought was real interesting that WrestleMania got pushed out a lot later than it usually is. Usually we're looking at WrestleMania in the first week of April.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what exactly was going on in Vegas this week.
Beats me.
Or in the first week of April. I'm sorry. In the first week of April. I don't recall anything.
I can't think of anything either.
In fact, Kelly was even at a loss going, isn't WrestleMania this weekend? I said, no. I said, it's not for a couple more weeks.
That's we got to push it back to make sure when Dwayne's available.
Oh yeah.
I'm just tired of him.
So, night one, which is Saturday, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches. Jade Cargill versus Naomi is an undercard. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. I just sit there and just, you just got to shake your head at who the heck's coming up with the names now. It's like, come on, give me a break. So those are the undercards. The U.S. Championship, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. Who you got?
Because I love LA Knight. I actually was at the SmackDown that he got to regain the U.S. title, which was freaking awesome. But I have always, since I've been able to get some stuff, I've been able to watch more of Jacob Fatu finally because he's no longer on the indie scene.
Right.
I love it. I don't want LA Knight's title run to end, but I think they're going to put the belt on Fatu. Just a hunch, but I think they're going to put the belt on Fatu.
Okay. Next up, World Tag Team Championships, War Raiders versus the New Day.
Is there anything in this called a draw? Because I could care less.
If Fatu, he should leave the bloodline.
Yeah, they're really not the new bloodline anymore. I mean, Tungaloa still isn't back from injury. I don't even know what Solo. I don't even know what he's doing these days. But
Ooh, there. That's
an hour. That comment's an hour too late.
no. Well, baseball needs to ban pitch framing.
How do you ban that?
That would be wow. How could you turn around and call? I mean, because that's an art, if you think about it. Justin and Zolt, by the way, are on the similar schedules, Sam. Just FYI. That's why, because I actually did send Justin a link to jump in earlier, and he's on dad duty too. So that's why he's catching up with us now. Justin, that brings up a great. How would you prevent? I mean, if they banned it, it's like, how do you prevent that? Because it almost comes up to being like an art form.
Guys like Patrick Bailey thrives off of it.
I mean, especially now, a lot of catchers are literally keeping their gloves down in the dirt. They're not even leaving it up into the zone anymore. They're starting from the dirt and just pull up and then boom, move it to right exactly where it, quote unquote, would be in the zone.
Yeah.
Solo dad on Tuesday nights. So that would be an interesting. Boy, that would be really tough. I think
that would be.
Give an earpiece to home plate umpires and let them know if they got duped. Change the calls instantly. So basically, the umpire would just be relaying balls and strikes off of the robotic system.
Wouldn't it just be easy to have somebody watching the game on a freaking TV monitor from the center field camera view and just have them earpiece to the umpire what's a strike and what's a ball? That's basically what would they do.
Well, and that's why I brought that up when I did bring that up earlier. Is how close are we to that?
Yeah, probably closer. Like I said, it's probably closer than you think.
Well, you said next year.
Yeah. At the earliest. The latest will be 2027. We will not go into 2028 with no resolution for that.
Only if the catcher's frame. Let their natural calls go. Okay. Okay. Or rule an instant ball for framing.
Oh, that'll cause a lot of freaking arguments.
Well, I mean, if it's already in, I was going to say, technically, if it's already in the zone, just let the chips fall where they may. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's really tough because even when I caught, I mean, I had a great way of just catching the ball and twisting my wrist as I caught it and turn it kind of in upside down and showing that it was over the plate. Instead of if I would have had it out, the ball goes from out, out here to twisting in, and all of a sudden it's in over the plate. And I would show that's where the ball was and get the called strikes. That's a big difference from out here to in here.
I used to have an outside. Well, my friend I would catch him against left-handed hitters. I would literally, instead of catching like this, I'd have the glove facing like upwards like this, and I would twist it in, and I would get the call almost every time. They didn't like it, but
You're not lying, Justin. You're not lying.
he's not wrong. He's spot on.
Yeah. And especially for what happened last night and the other night. The other nights. It's getting way out of hand.
I mean, you could say last night was about the framing, but the ball was 65 inches outside. Like, oh my God, it's just at that point, it's common sense. Which apparently these umpires don't have, but still. Oh my God.
Anthony may have our answer. Move WrestleMania to take place over Easter weekend primarily to avoid potential cold weather and ensure warmer weather conditions in the Northeast for the event. It's in Vegas.
Yes, but I think, yes, because I will say a lot of the complaints last year in Philly was because it was too cold. But I agree with you, it's in Vegas. Who cares?
And they've had WrestleMania in freaking New York in the first week of April when it was flipping cold as all get out. And they got lucky as all it could be to have a 70-degree weekend. Pure dumb luck because it dropped into the 40s on Monday, the following Monday.
Yeah.
I remember it real well. I said, you guys are nuts. It's going to be outside in New York. It's going to be 40 to 50 degrees, cold as all get out. It's going to be an epic bomb. And they lucked out to have a 70-degree weekend. Pure luck.
And they're in a stadium that's indoors, not even outside.
Right. Exactly. So that makes no sense. Especially when they're always in. When they're indoors, it shouldn't matter at all. Oh Jesus.
Dun, dun, dun.
Zolt.
I never would have thought that Sam would take away Bruce. Never would have thought it.
All right. Well, I'm glad I'll be able to make a call to the bullpen now. Zolt, I've been on fumes here. I've been carrying the whole show.
I know. I've seen it. And frankly, I mean, I've been very impressed. Thank you for the 7 innings.
Justin, I will chat with you tomorrow because I definitely have to prep you extremely early, and it will probably be done by a text messaging because I know I have to be out of here. I think around 4:30, so I will definitely be in touch tomorrow.
Well, let's just show the indication there that George has just confirmed that not all of his texting conversations involve 65,000 Facebook reels. There are some meaningful conversations he has throughout the day. So I've been told. They don't include me, so I don't know.
Man. Welcome to our world, man.
Oh my God, this is. Oh, geez.
Oh, wow. Man. Oh, yeah, well, there's a slamming on sand.
I'm used to it.
Oh, jeez. Um, Rey Mysterio can get a match, not Randy.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. It's not Randy Orton's fault that his opponent literally needs neck surgery. Okay. Look, let me just tell you this. There are multiple AEW superstars that are returning to WWE because why wouldn't they? Randy is going to have a WrestleMania opponent. I mean,
Yeah, the card is always subject to change.
well, it has to because Kevin Owens literally can't do anything. He can't do anything for the next calendar year.
Which is a shame. I really like KO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great characterization. I love how he can carry a storyline. I mean, and patiently carry a storyline. You know, he doesn't need to rush it. He doesn't rush it at all. He really
wanna know-
for
I want to know if that's Bruiser's opinion or if that's something that's actually a possibility. I know they've had Randy RKO Nick Aldis twice now in the span of like 2 years, and he tried to edge him on to wrestle him at Mania. I also don't know if Aldis is actually going to wrestle ever again, but I wouldn't mind. I mean, I wouldn't mind Solo and Randy. You're kind of putting yourself together here, where you don't have a lot of time to build up anything. So, no, Anthony. It's neck surgery. He suffered a neck injury a while back. He didn't break his neck like Big E did, but it's something that will require him to have surgery, and he will not wrestle for at least a year. He's already probably not going to be ready for Mania next year, they said. So,
I remember
and I'm
having
with Zolt.
I remember having a few minutes with Big E about his neck. He was here in Canton, Ohio, for the USFL championship team a couple of years back, and brought that up, you know, and how he was recuperating, and he said, "It's no joke." He said, and Big E is not, you know, when you see these guys on TV, Big E is literally 5'10". He is not a tall, big dude. He's only 5'10". He's an inch taller than me.
Oh, wow.
I was so surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, he is not very tall. He really isn't. And ironically, he even said, you know, a lot of fans are surprised when they actually meet everybody on how short a lot of these folks are.
I wouldn't mind that at all. Aleister Black's already been teased to come back for weeks now.
I would be so happy.
Yeah, he'll actually be. I think he'd rather just come back and wait because I think he worked enough tag matches in AEW because I believe he didn't have a singles match for about 5 years, even though he wasn't even there for 5 years. But I think Aleister would rather come back and wait till he can wrestle somebody one-on-one because the guy was literally in nothing but trios matches for like 2 years.
And how about having him come back the Monday night after WrestleMania, which we know is the biggest
That's
draw.
why I don't think you'll see him at Mania because they're trying to have some wow factors for the Monday after.
Which I would be thrilled about.
So I actually, for once in my lifetime, I think this is more historic than any sports feat that's going to be broken. This is more historic than Alexander Ovechkin. I actually agree with Bruiser on something. I think that is the most historic thing we've ever accomplished so far here. Is that Bruiser and I actually agree on something? Because Solo doesn't have anything going on for Mania either. And like I said, your back's against the wall. You got what, 2 weeks? But when this Kevin Owens thing happened 2 weeks ago, you gotta throw something together. You gotta do it fast.
We were rolling on the other title matches. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the women's championship.
All right.
That'll put Flair on.
I hate I've never liked Charlotte Flair. Okay, so I really I would hope Tiffany would win. She's not going to. They're going to give Charlotte her 50th title, which feels like, and I'm just, I've started to realize something. Bruiser, I hope you're right. Again, we're agreeing on something. I hope you're right. Because I don't need Charlotte Flair getting another title. I really don't. You know what I finally realized about Charlotte Flair? I finally learned something about her because I finally have a comparison for her. She is the Fedor Sanders of WWE. That last name will get you anything.
Wow. What? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, moving on to the heavyweight championship. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Do they pull it off of him? Do they pull it off of him and give it to Jey? Jey being that big fan favorite right now. They did it for Daniel Bryan. They did do it for Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Do they do it for Jey?
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so.
I find it really strange.
Yeah, God. No doubt about it, Jimmy.
I find it really weird that the Royal Rumble winner is not main eventing either night of WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like WWE thinks that because of this, and it's not an insult to Jey. I like Jey. However, they were scrambling after that. I mean, they had to give Cena the Elimination Chamber because he won the Rumble. And now look what they're doing. We have to put three of their biggest stars in a triple threat match as the main event for night one because we have nothing else for them with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman. I don't think, with the way it's been going the last couple of weeks, I don't think they're going to take it off of Gunther just yet. I honestly think that they feel they may have made a mistake with the Rumble, and they're going to correct it by not giving him the title right now. Because what's the point of, that's not, I don't care if it's for the world title at all. What's he going to do? Open the match and win the world title? Okay, that's not a wrestling, that's not what winning the Rumble's about. You're supposed to main event WrestleMania. Right. And they're dropping their second biggest championship. They are dropping it for a triple threat match for the custody of Paul Heyman, essentially.
Which is insane.
They might as well, you know what they should do? They should put Paul in that little steel cage, hang him above the ring, make it a triple threat ladder match, and whoever can lever down the little walrus wins the wise man.
Oh, man.
If we wanted to, we could do something like that for this show and put George in the cage, but I don't think anybody would go up there. That's the problem.
Whatever. Uso WrestleMania wins at SummerSlam, and Gunther moves on to Cody.
I agree with that, too. I think... Wait, what did you say, Soul?
I said we put George in the cage and just leave.
That's a good thing this is a family show.
Is it really?
To Anthony's point, Logan Paul is on the undercard, and AJ Styles will probably smack him silly. So,
I was gonna say, look, I think Logan Paul I'll at least give him this. He doesn't make a mockery out of wrestling like his brother has made a mockery out of boxing. Logan has sat down, and since his first match has got him better, has sat down, learned the ropes of this business, and has taken advantage of it. He also kind of, not to the extent, but like what Bruiser said. Oh, boy.
I knew it.
Well, do you see him here?
How could you, George? How
This
could you?
is just like picturing the Pirates when Skeens leaves in free agency. But so back to the Logan Paul thing. First of all, I wouldn't consider AJ Styles at this point a humongous match. I mean, AJ's up there now.
Yeah.
But the fact is that Logan Paul actually, kind of like what Bruiser said to Taylor Swift with the NFL, Logan Paul's brought a lot to WWE in terms of money and more following. So that's why he gets these matches, because he brings more to them. But again, like I said, he's actually a pretty damn good athlete, even before he actually started to learn the business. I mean, there are guys like that make mistakes that could cost guys their career. Rey Mysterio almost freaking blasted his neck against Logan Paul. Logan Paul actually saved him from doing it. So I'll give Logan that credit. I can't stand him, but at least he respects the business enough to learn it.
Yeah.
Not come in like his brother, say, okay, I want to fight this UFC fighter in a boxing match that he's never done. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight this boxer who's 100 years old. No, Logan says, okay, I'll go. Logan Paul came back and said, okay, I'll work Seth Rollins. I'll work Roman Reigns, the biggest star in the industry at the moment.
So the question is can Logan Paul and AJ Styles match go longer than Paul versus Tyson? I'm just saying.
Probably.
It's still both rigged.
Yeah, except one's just less of a joke, I think. I can also say, and I want to. I hope Bruiser hears this. I don't like how they set these cards up.
Yeah.
Night two is clearly the loaded one.
Well, the Sin City Street Fight, Priest versus Drew McIntyre.
That's solid.
It's all right. I mean,
That's solid.
you're going to get two big guys fighting. The IC Fatal 4-Way.
I agree with Bruiser.
This is true. Yes, that is very true. I remember that was that running joke. He turned around and wrestled. Who was it that wrestled the Broom? I thought that was his.
Now wait, did Bruiser mean a Swifter or a Swifty?
No, a Swiffer.
I know that.
Fatal 4-Way. So you get Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Finn Balor.
This match could probably steal the freaking show, because these are four guys that are Finn. We know what he can do. Braun is ridiculous. Like, there's definitely been build-up between McIntyre and Priest. It should happen since the Rumble. There's definitely been build-up.
Well, not like a lot, though. I mean, since January, you're only January to April. Usually,
They've been beating the crap out of each other every SmackDown for 2 months.
Well, yeah, but that's just the thing. They've rushed this. Usually, you let a storyline brew for about a good 4 to 6 months. You're going to push on a build-up. So
How long do you want these damn things to be built up for? Jesus. So you're telling me we started build up the Rock and Austin in 1993? Holy shit.
Bruiser says Penta wins the IC title.
I hope he does, but I feel like it's going to be ending up being either Balor or Dom, because they're going to want to start the Judgment Day is going to split up eventually, which God, I hope so, because The Liv Morgan, Finn Balor led Judgment Day is a snooze fest. So I would love to see Penta win it.
Speaking of which, Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Bailey and Lyra.
Who cares? You want a zero build-up? This is pointless.
Then the Women's World Championship triple threat, Io, Rhea, and Bianca. Why do I got this bad feeling it's Bianca again? I mean,
Honestly,
she's got. It's always about just the whole personality thing versus the wrestling thing with her. And it's like, well, you know, she brings in more fans on that ordeal. Rhea does a really good job of it too, and that's I thought for sure, pretty much at this point, that Rhea would get it, but something just tells me Bianca's going to end up with it again.
honestly, like Rhea, I don't really know what their plans are with Rhea. I mean, dropping the belt just a week before Mania, that really never made a lot of sense to just give it back to her at Mania. I honestly, I'd rather see Io just retain the damn thing. I'd rather see Io retain the title.
Okay.
Mike, that match will last longer. That match will last as long as a Jake Paul boxing match. Can I
Rhodes or Cena? Does Cena get it? Are they because it's his last hurrah? Does he get it?
He doesn't. Well, first of all, I get the last hurrah thing. He doesn't need to win the damn title at Mania. He's wrestling till freaking December, so it's not like he's going away after Mania. He's gonna wrestle for the rest of the year. He could win at SummerSlam, but they're gonna give it to Cena. Why I'm on that subject is they have got to stop with the title reigns being a year long. Like, what's the point of someone holding the title for a whole calendar year just to know you're going to lose it at Mania? Like, I just don't like the year-long title reign. Especially when you know it was really just a holdover. Because the best thing they could have done, they should never have had Rock come out the night after Mania and have that little converse with Cody. Because then after that, we were like, oh, it's only till The Rock comes back. And then, oh, we'll see what The Rock does. Like, I didn't like that, and I don't like the title reign. It's like, you're going to have one shot now a year to have a new champion. Like, I thought, just like with Roman, I thought there were plenty of guys that could have dethroned him. There were like 2 or 3 guys that could have easily took that title off of Cody. Kevin Owens being one of them. That feud was awesome. And KO should have easily won that title. He could have won that title easily. I just don't like you don't got it. Like, I'm not saying you don't got to have a new champion every 4 weeks, but every maybe 4 months, take the title off of someone after 4 months, keep the fresh blood going, especially after what they did with Roman. And don't get me wrong, I love Roman. The title reign was mostly pure laziness from Vince before he left. He didn't want to build up a new star. He was comfortable with what he had. Oh, there you go.
Yes, I have my Roman shirt on.
Don't get me wrong. I like the historic feat that he accomplished, but like I said, I don't need a champion for 365 days.
That is true.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
That's the one thing that I couldn't stand is these guys only defended, we'll do it every quarter.
That's the one thing with Roman that did drive me nuts, because he would literally win at a premier live event and then not show up forever. He would show up then 3 months later, and that was it. I will say that about Roman. The title reign was cool, but it wasn't worth it because he wasn't always there. Like, they literally had to main event pay-per-views without championship matches. That's not good for the company. That's not good for the brand.
No.
That's why they had to bring a World Heavyweight Championship and bring that back. Which, by the way, unpopular opinion, that title has been irrelevant since they took it off of Seth Rollins.
Well, Mike, he even did it even in the past couple of years.
Like, I'm talking about way after he came back from that. I'm talking after he came back from that.
Yeah,
He has not missed. Hold on. Roman hasn't missed time with that. All right, so he missed. So I'm pretty sure there was some issues he was having with it after losing the belt last year. Because remember, he went away till SummerSlam. And there were some rumors that he was dealing with it heavily again. He had not missed time with that. And before that, he had not missed time since before the pandemic. And the only reason he missed time during the pandemic because he was a high risk. But since he came back from that up until last year's Mania, he was just taking the time off. That's fine. But then if that's the case, you can't be champion for 3 years when you're only wrestling 6 times a year. It's not fair to the guys like Bruiser said, like Cody, who does Monday nights, Friday nights, live events, premier live events. It's not fair to Seth Rollins, who basically wrestled last year with knee injuries, back injuries, you name it. It's not fair to the guys like Kevin Owens who work every night and now can't wrestle for a year. So that's the point I have with Roman. I love Roman. I didn't like the title reign because it wasn't fair. Because everybody that was there every night didn't have that chance. And for the longest time, they'd have 2 titles. They had to bring back a second title, which since they took it off of Seth at Mania last year, has been irrelevant. Damien's title run was, I'd say, okay, if anything. If you want my personal opinion, if they want to make the title popular again, they have to put it on Jay, because I'll tell you right now, Gunther was better as the Intercontinental Champion than he's been the World Champion. It feels like sometimes when these guys get that big title, they kind of lose something. Not saying everybody, but some guys just lose something. Which reign, Mike, are we talking about his world title reign right now or his IC title reign? Because he has some tendencies to doing it too. But Gunther shows up regardless.
Yeah, because he even did with the NXT.
I was going to say, Gunther Gunther didn't go away for 3 months and then come back. Okay, all right, they're talking about the Intercontinental. I don't think it's. I remember seeing Gunther wrestle a whole lot more with his IC title than I saw Reigns wrestle with the Universal title. But that's okay. But here's the problem with that: Gunther at least was there. Roman would go 3 months without touching a plane, a car, or anything. He was at home. That's the problem. Even if Gunther didn't wrestle and he was just there in the arena, or if he just did a promo, or if he just did like a little video skit or something, Roman wouldn't even do that. He left for 3 months. That's the problem I have with it.
Well, Mr. Zolt, do you have your FIB ready to rock and roll?
Always. And I've picked up like about 3 or 4 more.
Nice.
Including a couple NHL.
Ooh.
And one, this will blow your mind, one that is a college football, college basketball combo.
Wow.
However, I'm not
Good
going
show, gentlemen. I'll see you later.
no. Because I know next week is technically the pre-draft show. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be here. So this is my pre-draft show. So we are going to go with, and Bruiser's not here to roll the dice anyway.
I was gonna say I had the wheel ready to go.
That's okay. We're not even going to go
Okay.
with the random.
All right. What do we got?
What do we
are
got
going
going
with
here?
We've got
The last
Oh,
time
snap.
each franchise had the first overall pick. And I'm going to up the difficulty.
Green
This is
Nevers.
going to be who had the first overall pick and who did they take, if you know it. Now, obviously, we could start with, an easy one here. I mean, if we want to just fill in the blank for 2025, which hasn't been picked yet,
Well, yeah, you might as well just
I mean, we can
copyright Williams. Yeah.
we can go ahead and do that if I remember how to spell. Now, I understand the ones at the back end are going to be kind of hard. I'm not expecting us
wait.
to fill in the player.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes.
I think George should have to guess the one that is right before the Nevers.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay. He was there.
Yeah. He was still a little tight back then, but
Now, if we want to take a shot at the Nevers, we can go ahead and do that. I mean, that's fine. Or we can just kind of go down the list because obviously it'll get harder as we go, but at least then we're also knocking off teams.
I'd like to take a shot at one of the Nevers right off the rip.
Okay.
so would I.
The New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints franchise has had a first overall draft pick.
Have they really?
Yes. I will
Wow.
say they're on the right-hand side of the column.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
All right. Well, can I just get my Never out of the way? Can I go with my team, the Eagles?
The Eagles? The Eagles are not a never.
Ooh.
Hang on. I need to find them.
Okay.
There they are. The Eagles are, in fact, 1949.
Oh, almost made the Never. Almost made the Never.
Do you want to even try a stab at who it was?
Oh, who they picked?
Yeah.
I'll take it. Let me see if I can take a
I
stab.
don't think I was gonna say Sam's mom wasn't even a thought yet in 49.
Look, I don't need my roof to. I don't need the light to shine in here right now and the heavens to come down yet. I'm not going to go there.
Shoot, my mom was born in 54.
Oh, this is tough. You know what? I'm gonna pass because the guys that I know, they're. Oh my God! Now I'm bad. I was gonna give a guess with that, but I thought it was too early. Oh, why? Why, damn it? Why didn't I guess it?
Okay. Wherever you want to go on the board, gentlemen, I would suggest let's go to 2024.
Well, yeah, it's Chicago.
And
Yeah.
who'd they take?
Williams.
2016 is the Rams and Jared Goff.
Well done.
Hmm. 2019 is Cleveland and Baker Mayfield.
It was not 2019.
2018.
A year off. I was trying to count. I'm sitting there trying to count backwards, going 1, 2, 3. I was like 9. I'm like, damn it. It's like, yep, almost. Oh, Anthony's over there.
Yeah, I saw it.
No, sorry, Anthony. I had the comments off because I'm on media slides.
I
So,
can see
sorry
it.
about
Go ahead,
that.
comment.
Okay, Zolt's got it. Zolt's got it. 90.
Why am I blanking on these so much?
See, there's a couple different ways you could attack this. You could try to figure out, remember back, okay, who had the first overall pick, or you can try to remember guys that were first overall picks. And where did they go and when?
Oh my god.
And the Panthers and the Jags had
2020 is Cincinnati and Joe Burrow.
Ooh.
Or Barrio in Zolt's case. Heard Joe Barrio's a hell of a. I heard he's a mobile icon.
Yeah, he was mobile until his O-line got him killed.
2023 is the Panthers and Bryce Young. Right?
There you go. There you
Oh
go.
my god!
Anthony, come on.
2015. I got one. 2015 is Tampa with Jameis Winston.
Okay. And I see Anthony's here, so give me a second.
Oh shit!
Good one.
That's a good one.
And I figure if I need to give hints for
90
specific years, it's going to be, I'll give you the team. Go ahead.
No. I'm going to say is 91. Give me 91 in the Patriots with Bledsoe.
'Twas not 91.
Is it 93?
It is, in fact, 93.
You were an elder statesman back at that time.
Shut up. I'm sitting there looking at those. I'm looking at those because I'm like, I graduated in 92, and I'm like, I know Bledsoe was right there. So I was going to have to kick myself for not remembering.
I don't even know if this guy was the first overall pick. Is 07 Tennessee with Vince Young?
Was not. No, in fact, we already have Tennessee on the board.
Yeah, Tennessee.
No, okay. So he wasn't the first overall pick. I was wrong. Shit.
He was not.
No.
Like I said, I knew I was going to screw that one up.
And,
Probably
and,
so.
And not to throw any hints or shade out there. 07, infamous. That was an infamous pick. And one I still laugh about today.
Interesting.
07 infamous. Oh shit.
I want to take another shot at a never.
Yeah?
The New York Giants.
Hang on. No, the Giants were not a never.
Okay.
Trust me, I'm looking for them. Oh, there they are. Yeah, they're in the 60s.
Okay.
In fact, here.
Is it 60 Y.A. Tittle?
No. White Tittle is not on my list.
Oh,
I will go ahead and give.
okay.
We'll go give the Giants because we're not getting this.
No, would not have gotten it. I thought YA was the first. Okay. All right.
Well, it is possible that the team has had a first round pick since then,
True.
or a first overall pick. I mean, first overall pick.
96 is Alex Smith with the 49ers.
Tis not. It was not 96.
Was it 96?
No. In fact, you're pretty far off.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah.
Not struggling with some of these.
So 2008.
No, but you're starting to bracket it in.
Is 20? Hold on. Is 2022 the Cardinals with Kyler Murray?
No.
No.
2019.
2019,
I
the Cardinals and Kyler Murray.
okay. I knew it was one of the two. I couldn't remember which one. So wait, you said for hints we can get the team of the year?
I'll give you the team if you want a hint for a year.
But who's the team? Who's the team
Oh,
in 2022? It's driving me nuts.
07.
2022 is Jacksonville.
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence.
It is not Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, Trayvon Walker.
There you go. There you go. I got two
Walker.
people talking.
Oh,
Wait, what the? Oh my God!
And Anthony nailed your 49ers, by the way.
2005. Well, he's cheating. He's using Google.
Yeah, we're not using Google, okay?
I'm
All
not using Google.
right, all right? I need to. Who's 2007?
2007.
DeMarcus Russell.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I will never forget that one.
Actually, now that I can get teams, now I can kind of pace this out. Now I can try to get this through now because sometimes I forget who had these first overall picks.
Is 59 Green Bay with Bart Starr?
It was not, although I will say this, you got the team. It was Green Bay.
Is it?
I'm
right.
going to go ahead and fill it in unless you
Yeah,
feel like
please
taking a
do, because
stab.
I was shooting for Starr. Duncan. Huh. Yeah, because I remember when you go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame a few times, you pick up a few things. Anthony goes, just put Cam Ward up on Tennessee's.
Right.
Who's 2009?
09 is my and your Detroit Lions.
Oh, Stafford. I forget Stafford was the first overall pick sometimes.
Yeah.
Listen, I have my moments just like George, okay?
That was Mary.
I believe there was a cat somewhere there should not have been.
Oops. Oh, man. Why is the 85 one haunting me? Is 85 Jim Kelly with the Bills?
85 is not Jim Kelly with the Bills. However, it is Buffalo.
Andre Reed,
No,
Thurman Thomas,
no,
Beebs.
no.
I think Beebs was the first rounder.
Oh, wait, George still do it. 85, my bad.
Yeah,
I'll get
hang
there.
on. Will you? You? Okay, you probably will. It's just I think you're thinking in the wrong place.
Right, I am.
And Bruiser,
Bruce
to answer your
Smith?
question, it is in fact Bruce Smith. Bruiser, to answer your question, no,
Thank
the
you.
Patriots are not a never. In fact, they're already up on 1990.
Bledsoe was the first pick.
Is 2004 Eli Manning with the
Yeah.
freaking Chargers?
Very good. That's a tricky one there.
I was gonna say I forgot about that. Eli was drafted by the Chargers. That's right.
I mean, I figured other than not knowing who the hell somebody is, I figured that would be one that would trip you guys up.
I got something works up here.
I feel better that I got Smith and Buffalo on that 85 one. I feel a lot
No. Stop. You're
I
just
do.
happy that I got 1949 and you didn't. Just be happy about that.
well,
That was so funny too. That I'm. Can I take a stab at a never?
Sure.
Is one of the nevers the Kansas City Chiefs?
No. In fact, they're on the left side.
What?
in
Oh wait, 2013 they took Eric Fisher.
Team, year, and player. Nice job.
Well, to be fair, the best tackle in that draft resides in Philadelphia. So the one thing I'll give Chip Kelly credit for, he did draft Lane Johnson. No, George, 1947 is not behind the brick wall.
no. One of the nevers, the Miami Dolphins.
No way.
No. In fact, Miami is also on the left-hand side.
Gosh darn.
The left hand side.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Ah.
I love seeing the steam rise from the.
So Miami's on the left side. So we've only got two on that side. All right, let me ask.
Yep.
All right. No, that's not a good. That's not. I was going to ask, was the position a quarterback? But that's a. Because I don't.
For Miami, the answer was no.
Oh, okay. Now, all right. Now we're cooking here.
George,
The
what
Baltimore Ravens are a never.
Yeah, Bruiser got it in the chat just a little bit ago.
Oh.
I was letting
I'm
you guys
sitting there, I'm
run through
looking, I
your-
look right over and I'm like, the Ravens, duh.
So the Dolphins is on the left, but it's not a quarterback.
Correct. To be fair, neither is 2014. Then if you want me to either give it away or just blow your mind, 2014 has also spent time on one of your teams.
I mean, whose team?
One of your Sam's. One of them.
Oh.
I ain't gonna say which.
Oh yeah, that's rough.
Bruiser, no, the Dolphins player was not a wide receiver.
All right,
I'll
so
go
this
so far
player
as to say they were in the trenches.
spent time on one of our teams.
Um, $2008? No. 2000. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I have no idea. I can't remember who the heck was the first.
The Houston Texans taken 2001.
No, Houston was not 2001.
Well, no, because they.
Although Houston is your other one on the left. So it's Houston, Miami.
So. It was 2014 with D-Hop?
It was not with Diop. We'll go ahead and do this, so we're not stuck here forever.
It's Clowney.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
All
You know
right.
what? And I almost screwed myself. I almost said Laramie Tunsil, but I remembered the freaking the gas mask situation.
Right. So that puts Miami at the 08 spot. Hold on.
I give up. So, George, you want to keep trying there, or do you want to give? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. Probably an offensive tackle.
Jake Long.
Jake Long? Wow, we would have been sitting
Damn
there.
it!
Okay, we got the easy side done.
All right, George, you have the rest of this. I'm out.
The Atlanta Falcons are a never.
The Atlanta Falcons are not a never.
Are the Cowboys
Really?
the never?
The Cowboys are also not a never.
No, the Cowboy. I think the Cowboys are the 81 of the 70. I want to say, I want to say maybe the 81 because they were good in the 90s. So I know it's not done there. Oh, wait a minute. But did no.
All right, who's 2001?
Atlanta.
What?
Jamal Anderson?
No. Definitely offensive side of the ball, though.
Ronnie White?
Wasn't Gonzo.
Oh,
Wasn't Gonzo, was it?
No.
Gonzo wasn't even drafted by the Falcons. Dude,
Heck.
I'm so mad. I am so freaking mad. Thank you, Bruiser.
I cannot believe it's been that long. Jesus Christ.
I know. That's the thing.
It's been that long.
All right, who's 96?
Okay. 96 is the Jets.
Wayne Corbett?
No. I can narrow this down for you if you want.
Okay.
Offensive side of the ball.
Okay.
Not a quarterback. Bruiser guesses
Hey,
Curtis
96.
Martin is not.
I
Curtis
know.
Martin.
I was gonna say. No, Curtis Martin was Patriots first. Wow, 96 is Wayne Corbett's year too. That's why I went for it. I'm gonna hate myself because I know I should know this. God knows I probably had him in fantasy football too.
I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah, we've been fighting for
At
him.
some point.
And
Yes.
we've been fighting. Yeah, we've been fighting for him. This. And ooh. And I know I should know 91 as well.
To be fair, George, I mean, obviously I know the team. I have no idea who the guy is at 91.
91. I know I
maybe
can
I do.
picture because the stupid football cards were
Oh, yeah.
some weird damn design on them. That's and it's like, yeah. Oh crap. I'm trying to force myself to the running back in 96.
Yeah, never mind. I remember who that is now. It just took me a minute. Ooh, hang on, let's get that up. Let's bring that back up. Okay.
Damn it. Who else was there with me?
Let's. I don't want to just sit here on one forever. So let's do a little bit of rundown on who we don't have team wise.
I'm looking on my board. The Buccaneers. The Buccaneers.
We have Tampa Bay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got
Yes.
one.
They took pick 6.
But the Saints one still isn't picked. Is that Arch Manning in 68?
No, it was not. Bruiser, I'm answering your question without showing it to chat. Your answer is yes.
Who the hell is? All right, wait a minute. So Wayne Corbett and who were drafted by the Jets?
Okay, yes. Bruiser asked if it was a wide receiver for the Jets. The answer is yes.
Yeah, which. Oh, no, Keyshawn Johnson wasn't drafted by the Jets. He was drafted by the Jets. And he was a journeyman. I cannot believe. Oh, well, I feel a little bit better. Thanks, Bruiser. I was like, okay, Keyshawn is like, I know he played for almost everybody.
Okay,
So is Arch in the 70s?
Arch Manning is not on the list.
Oh, he's not the list.
Okay.
Look, where did the Saints take?
In fact, I'll go ahead and put that one in. Saints.
In 81? Okay, hello. So go a lot sooner than that.
Here, I'll give you my thoughts on the rest of the list real quick.
And,
There you go.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, no, Sam, you still have a chance at the nevers.
I still have a chance at it. I'm actually trying to think of some of the nevers.
And Bruiser, frankly, that's not nothing. You're definitely you're asking
Okay,
the
wait,
right
hold
question.
on.
So the Minnesota Vikings are a never,
The Minnesota Vikings are not a never.
or the Reds.
Are
Purple people. The Redskins
and
are a never.
Washington is not a never.
Damn.
And I understand you're probably not going to get players, and
No.
we're okay with that.
No,
But so
No.
we've got
not even close.
four slots open. 2 of them are nevers.
the Seahawks a never?
No shit.
Okay. Okay. Can I get a small hint for the last never?
Okay, how about this? I'm going to give you the 3 teams that we don't have. I'm going to give them to you in alphabetical order, so I'm not giving anything away. The 3 teams that we have left:
Steelers.
Dallas, Denver, Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
Steelers are
Steelers.
not a never.
The Steelers?
And in fact, their 1970 overall pick,
Chucky's
first overall
screwed.
pick, I
Chucky's
feel you
screwed.
should at least be able to take a guess at.
Yeah, I was going to say that's Chucky's crew. Good Lord. Yeah, I know the Elway and Sharp were not number ones. And they were first round picks. Elway was a first round pick in '84, but was not number one overall. Okay, so Chucky's crew from the '70s. Terry Bradshaw.
Yes, that was it. And Bruiser got the other never,
The Broncos.
which was Denver.
Yeah.
And then 91 is Dallas.
It is Dallas. Okay.
You want to
With
take a stab
Troy
at it?
Aikman?
Nope,
Michael, it's not Irving, is it? He was a.
it is not. In fact, defensive tackle.
Uh,
All right.
This is one of those where
oh,
I heard the name and I was like, oh yeah, that was
That'll be me.
George is straining his brain. So while he's doing that, I'm gonna fill in a couple of the we're never
yeah,
gonna guess.
definitely fill in those guys. Courtney Brown was the Lion or Cleveland Browns.
Hmm.
I don't know about that Saints one, Zolt.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know once maybe if I see the name Rogers, no, no, I wouldn't know.
Bruiser, not Courtney Brown, not Cortez Kennedy.
Cortez Kennedy was the Seahawks. I know once you type it in, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Let me phone my brother. He's the Dallas fan. I'll phone a friend.
Hold
Oh,
a friend.
Russell, Maryland. See, I remember the name. Once it clicked, I'm like, I know that name.
I don't think
Okay.
don't think I would have gotten it at all.
But
Seattle's never had a first.
Seattle's
overall.
never had a first overall pick.
Yeah.
Only in draft day.
I was gonna. You know what? I was thinking of watching that too. It's a good ass movie.
Denver's never had a number one either. That is interesting. Seattle's never had a number one. Huh. I think they've probably been close. But
I thought this one would be appropriate. It would be.
yeah,
This was one of the couple that I had that I'm like, oh, this is going to be a hard one, but this should be entertaining.
we didn't do too bad.
You didn't do too bad.
We didn't do too shabby.
I was fine till we got over to the right side.
Yeah. The problem is Sam's young and George and I, we're starting to hit the memory loss.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
Well, like I
You're
said,
right.
I knew Bledsoe
On the
was
other.
at 90s. I knew he was there. I'm glad I got Bruce Smith out of Buffalo on that one.
Well, I mean, you did name half the team, but yes.
Yeah. Well, the other problem was is I was thinking I was getting too close to um, jumping into the '90s into with most of the guys too. I needed to keep going back instead of trying to keep getting closer when they were getting into the Super Bowls. But yeah, wow.
Baltimore,
Yeah, like I
Seattle,
said, I
Denver.
forgot
Never
Keyshawn
picked them.
Johnson and Wayne Corbett were both the Jets. Yeah, they went shopping.
So is this like going to be? Is this like a weekly thing? Zolt just comes up with something to drive us insane with.
Oh, he's got like
Yes.
6 or 7 of these.
I
Oh
have
yeah.
plenty. I have plenty on the burner.
Where the hell?
What
The hell?
the did you do?
What are you
What the
doing?
hell is that thing doing?
It wasn't that hard.
God.
We gotta
Oh
we gotta wrap
boy,
up. We got we got to turn around and talk about the elephant in the
that
room.
is that our new host? Is that another new ace?
Bruiser's replacement.
I like him already. He stays quiet.
I mean, technically, Bruiser's staying quiet now.
So wait, was this also another guy that you thought you were trading George for Zolt, or is it just?
I mean, unfortunately, the money didn't work out. Surprisingly enough.
Well, I said that too. I was told tonight I was going to make $3, and I want $5.
Yeah.
McDonald's doesn't have a dollar menu anymore. Okay.
That's right.
Right.
So, yeah, apparently, so somebody's only got about 1.25 million because based off of what he was supposed to get, he got the 350 grand up front, but the rest of it is all just like anything else of incentive base and his time in. So he was supposed to get almost 2 per year going with a 4-year $8 million. So guess what? Homie messed up. Because right
Oh, yeah.
now, when he's sitting in the portal, he's not making any money.
Well, no, but he's not going to stay in the portal.
Well, at the moment, you had brought up Georgia earlier, and
I've heard that rumor.
Georgia's not one of the hard confirmed ones. One of the mainstay ones that the rumor mills, and it's all the rumor mills at the moment, they're saying, well, he's linked hard to UCLA because he's from the area. North Carolina was the other one. Bill Belichick went,
Yeah, that's already been.
Billy went, no, don't even try it.
Well, they're after another quarterback.
Right. They're going after the other dude. And then Tulane has a suspended quarterback, and they're like, oh, it'll make sense if he goes there. Tulane, I don't think is going to drop $4 million per year for a guy who can just decide he wants to just up and leave.
Unlikely.
And he only turned around and got 11 out of 19 touchdowns against lesser opponent teams, which balloons his stats because when he tries to play up against upper echelon teams, he's only got a 45% passer rating. That's not good. That's not very good at all.
Not to mention that this started during the playoff, and a bunch of them, apparently it was more than just him in the playoff that were threatening to sit out, and they roll up at Ohio State and perform like that.
Sorry, dude.
Okay.
You ain't getting squat.
Okay, hang on. Because I have a 63.8 completion percentage for this past year. 2,600 yards.
On the upper echelon team. Upper echelon against
Nice.
the upper echelon teams.
19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Right.
On
That's total.
Tennessee. Right. Yeah. Okay.
That's
But
total.
it's
Yeah.
total stats.
They broke it down to the upper echelon teams versus the lower echelon teams.
That's fine, but
he scored 11 out of the 19 against the lower echelon teams.
those stats mean Power 5 teams are going to look at him.
So you want to beat all the Division 2s and 3s you want.
I mean, his team went 10-3. They did okay.
Oh, that's right. The team did okay.
And frankly, when I looked at next year's draft quarterback class, his name was one of 5 that they're projecting. So
he's the next Trey Lance. Congratulations.
perhaps, but like I said, it's enough to get teams to look at him. He's not going to leave the portal penniless. Somebody's going to take him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. The problem is NIL money is what it is. Literally, it's the same right anybody else has. You can't take it away from them.
No, and because
the
there's
courts
no
have already said
structure,
that.
and there's no structure for it either.
You're right.
And that's what's gonna just destroy it outright. Because next thing you know, it's like, oh well, guess what? Now you turn around and you're gonna start dwindling this right up into the high school groups. They're gonna want all this money coming right out of high school. Hey, I'm a 5-star recruit.
Yeah,
But
and
when you get to the high school ranks, you start talking about minors, and that's different. That's different rules.
yeah,
The courts are definitely going to step in on that and have some words about it. Again, these kids are adults. Yes, they're kids, but they are adults. Legally, they are adults.
young, stupid adults.
And yeah, in a lot of cases, there's no doubt. I mean, I certainly was at that age.
I still am.
20, just about 24-ish, 25 is when you pretty much figure out life sucks. You go to work. Life sucks some more. Then you go to work.
But all back to again what Bruce was saying about the structure to it. They really need to figure out a structure to it because the other issue is some schools have way more NIL than others.
Well,
That's the other.
And it depends on the state too. It even goes by the state.
Yeah, but like let's be real. Tennessee, they probably get a decent bit of NIL money. They're not like the lowest tier, but they're not out doing it against like Ohio State or Bama. They're not going to get more than those schools.
NIL will totally destroy probably 15% of college football programs within the next 10 years.
Okay, we're already there, and it wasn't NIL that did it. It was the NC2A.
Well, I'm saying
it was
NIL
realignment.
NIL will turn around and still destroy.
We are already at haves and have-nots. We've been there now for a little while, and it's going to get more and more and more. And it's not NIL. This is just straight up schools that have power and schools that don't. It's Big Ten, it is SEC, and it's everybody else.
Well, you can have some school like some smaller schools actually probably fold because of it.
I mean,
Because they'll end up going bankrupt. They'll bankrupt the school.
Yeah, the schools don't pay NIL. NIL money has to come from donors, boosters, corporations, outside things. Schools are allowed to organize it, but no school money can go into NIL. Now, schools be paying players, but that's a whole separate thing.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, one Mr. Manning comes to mind right there, Bruiser. I'm very sure of that one too.
Now, again, we've had the show on how the NC2A sucks, and we can
Yeah.
further into that by the fact that they refuse to put guardrails up because they don't want the responsibility. They don't want to get sued because they know they would.
Yep.
So, and we're not taking the show there, but they literally have thrown it at Congress and said, you guys need to make us, exempt and come up with the rules for us. And again, we're not going there because that's just a mess waiting to happen.
Bruiser says, this is a conversation
Yeah.
I have.
Right. And again, I mean, there's the NIL conversation, there's the transfer portal conversation, there's the paying players conversation. They're all separate conversations that kind of lead you in the same direction. It is the world we're going to live in. It ain't going back.
Yeah.
So what is the best route forward for doing this? And frankly, Sam, on your show, I think Tyler said it best. Contracts. Actual honest-to-God contracts. And frankly, make them a 2-year max. Because after 2 years, a kid can decide if he's still in the right place.
Yeah, and of course that leads to the other thing of most of these kids. It was like, hey, you came because you also need to get an education, because that was part of the trade-off of scholarship and everything else.
Yeah.
You're getting an education here.
And yeah, because the goal was always supposed to be the next level is where you're supposed to make your money.
Right.
But then but then I brought up as well, some of those kids some of them aren't going to get to that. So I get them fighting for what they deserve. I mean, like I said, with the amount of money that they make off of these kids playing every weekend, they are owed some of it.
Well, and it's like, don't let something come out academically about this kid screwing up, because if that happens, he's toast. He's
First of all,
absolute toast.
Isn't his father his agent?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I believe he is. And if that's the case, then we can tell you how this is going to go right now.
If that's the case, then, wow, this makes a lot more sense.
Oh, I was going to say, wow, a ball situation all over again. Yippee!
Let me confirm it, but let me.
Yeah. Because, like I said, academically, that's part of your NIL is you still have to keep those grades.
Like anybody else, you've got God, I'm just blanking on words today. Yeah, grades are a thing, but at the same time, that's regulated. You have to maintain such and such a GPA, otherwise you lose eligibility. I mean, that's just.
Yep.
But I mean, we all know teams give help.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not availing yourself of that help, what do you do?
Okay. So he doesn't have a traditional agent, but when it comes to handling NIL negotiations, his father controls that.
Yep, there we go.
Ring, ding, ding, ding.
Later, dude. Deuces. See you later.
I was gonna say I don't even know the rule for the NC2A right now. Are players allowed to have agents officially?
Well, clearly they're allowed to have.
While they're still there.
Well, clearly they're allowed to have something, because if you don't recall, Drew Aller, someone was trying to get him to enter the draft this year. Which, again, I could have just told you one throw against Notre Dame would have told you that was a bad idea.
Yes, NIL agents and they they get a hefty percentage of managing the NIL deals.
Of course they do.
Of course they
That's how
do.
it works.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Bruiser, yeah, you're exactly right. And frankly, unless they have a degree or some form of license in that area,
Yeah, like I said,
just
if it
staying the
ever
hell away.
comes to somebody in the other room, I want zero part of that.
Yeah,
No, because there's a lot of legalities behind that too. But making sure that the right person is set.
yeah,
You know, it's you got to make sure the legitimacy behind that. And if it's one thing that Bryce knows I do is I kind of try to make sure I do my hefty research on a lot of things patiently. But I mean, we know that this is exactly why Nick Saban went, see ya, I'm out. And
yeah. I mean,
he even said it himself. That is the one of the big reasons. He said he would go back and coach in the NFL. He would not go back to coach college.
I saw the quote where he said he was tired of having to recruit his own players.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I saw the interview, and when he said he would go coach in the NFL, it's like, well, yeah, because you don't even want to deal with this disaster. This
Yeah.
is an absolute cluster bomb. And I don't blame them. Like I said, it's definitely going to destroy a lot real fast. And I don't think it's
Speaking
going to
of-
get any better. I mean, what you want Congress to turn around and try to take control of? Like you tried to get Congress to take control of baseball in the steroid situation? Really?
Like I said,
that's where you're
not going
going.
there.
Yeah, that's where you're going.
We're not.
Yeah,
We're
no.
not going. We're not going to put
We
that.
we don't do politics. No,
No.
sorry, no thanks. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. No, we don't do that. We don't. No, politics and sports. It's like, yeah, no, sorry guys. You stay in your building, and we leave our sports people stay in ours. It'll take 25 years, but they'll figure it out.
Yeah, right.
Look how long it took baseball to get a commissioner.
Speaking of why we're on the college topic, isn't the spring transfer portal opening up soon?
Tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Tomorrow's the day. That's why we're hearing all the names. We
Good.
know who's going to go into the portal. So, but that's also why we haven't heard anybody going anywhere yet.
Right.
Well, no,
Officially
I'm excited for it because Penn State's going to be wide receiver shopping again. I mean, they added two. They got two decent ones. So, I mean, they got the kid Kyron Hudson from USC in the last window. They also got the kid Ross from Troy, and for all I've heard through spring practice, that they both look really good. But they're probably still hunting for one more, I'd say. But easily, Penn State's biggest ad still is going to be getting Jim Knowles away from Ohio State. So that may be a hire. Look, can we agree now? You can make the case that he hasn't always had the greatest talent, but let's look at something. Look how many kids came back, especially with Singleton and Allen returning. They could have easily went to the NFL mid-fourth round draft, top 4 picks. There has never been more pressure on James Franklin than there is this year in 2025 because best quarterback talent that he's had at Penn State. Easily one of the best running back duos in the country. They're still going to have at least a decent passing attack with the wide receiver additions, with Luke Reynolds, who was one of the top recruits a couple of years ago out of high school. They have a good offensive line. They are still loaded defensively with talent, even with losing Carter, Winston, Reed, King, guys like that. Danny did it. Sutton came back. Durant came back. They've still got plenty of talent. And now adding Jim Knowles to coach them, it's basically this has got to be some type of a make or break year for Franklin, or I don't know what the hell they do if they don't do it this year.
I know on the side of Michigan, they're targeting receivers, O-line, maybe.
Linebacker.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about defensive side of the ball. I mean, obviously you're looking for depth wherever the hell you can.
You're losing a lot.
Yeah. As far as the transfer portal specifically, they might take a look at another quarterback. Now, they got in the winter, they got a transfer quarterback from Fresno State, Mikey Keene.
Yeah.
He's been hurt the entire spring. He has not taken a snap.
Oh, really?
He's been hurt the entire
spring. Wow.
So,
yeah, I thought that was
however,
kind of one of your guys'.
He was going to be in the competition right now, and honestly, even if they pick somebody up, I think the starter is the freshman, Bryce Underwood.
Really?
I think he's starting no matter what.
Wow.
They've been saying he's impressing. He's gotten damn near every rep. So,
Okay.
I mean, this could be a real interesting fall.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, defensively, I mean, you're losing both D tackles to the draft.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Mason Graham's easily probably going to go top 6.
Yeah.
I like freaking Kenneth Grant a lot more than other people do.
Yeah. There's definitely, okay, no doubt about it. We lose heavy hitters. I will say this, that defensive side of the ball has been stacked every year. Every year. It's literally just next guy up. Who's the next first rounder? That's what we've been seeing. Not worried about the defensive side of the ball yet. Until the year where that doesn't happen, then we start worrying about the defensive side of the ball. But I mean, let's face it, as far as the previous year, the offense is where we need the work.
Yeah.
Well, George, unless there was something else, I know Bruiser's not here.
That takes care of the 4 minutes. Say goodnight, Grayson.
Good night.
Good night. I said say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night.
Good night.
So I said, well, flip a coin, and if it comes out heads, have your hair dyed.
And if it comes out tails, say goodnight, Gracie.